Это как полный пи***ц. Это так, как ваша машина. Это только, это полный пи***ц. Так, это наша ситуация на Lysychansk-Bakhmut сейчас.
I'm British, I'm 16 years in Kyiv and I'm 55. Many lifetimes back. Obviously I was sitting here when the war started. I started volunteering in Obolon doing camouflage Nesetka underground, and it was okay volunteering, but it was very boring. And then somebody said to me, why don't you do some evacuation driving? I'm like, yeah, give me the address. And they're like, go here. And I'm like, I don't have a car. I'm like, we have a car. Zagorad of Kyiv. And so I went and picked up this first car, like an Uklon taxi, and did a little bit, quick run up to Chernihiv, a little bit in Kyiv. And then Kramatorsk obviously blew off and there was a big need. Then our guys here kind of went, we need guys from Kyiv. So then in my rather specific orange Uklon taxi kind of vehicle, I was down here with the guys, did a month in that, then that kind of had to go back to Kyiv. Somebody else gave me an SUV, worked, then somebody else brought me a minibus, and here we are today. I don't know, I had maybe a bad feeling for that day, I don't know, maybe I should have stayed in bed. But we went up through Seversk, we had a safe route. It was all kind of cool and it was kind of calm. We made our way to the first point, which was the Palace of Culture. The volunteers were there and there was some humanitarian aid. I mean, the first address was like not even 5 minutes, it was 2 minutes away. So we found the first two people. Volvo says, oh, I've got some more customers here. I'll talk to them. You go and do the pickup. So I went around the corner, put my two pensioners in the car, loaded their luggage, and then boom! And the local's like, don't worry, that's ours. Well, okay, that's cool. Drove around to find Volvo, pulled into the car park, and there's like Volvo's van sitting there with the door open. There's obviously been an aerial bombing. There's just smoke and dust everywhere. I like kind of parked my pensioners in the corner. Don't worry about this is quite normal. It's all gonna be okay. Ran over, opened the door, and there's no Volvo. So I'm running around like an idiot shouting, Volvo, Volvo, but where are you? For a few minutes like a lunatic, and then he comes up from under the ground with the blood on his head, and he's kept away from the bombs. I understand, thank God he's alive. And then as we're kind of in that bit there's dust and everything. Took a quick video clip, you know, for our people, see what's going on. As taking the video clip, people are like, help us now. So straight away, inside the building, there's like people lying on the floor, covered in dust, put them on stretchers, get them outside. Then they're like, can we use your vehicles? So Vova and I are like then medical ambulance drivers. We took them straight into the hospital. Then we're back there. Then Vova goes and needs some treatment. So I'm like, and I was zigzagging across Lysychansk. It was not too heavy a day. I thought, well, the basic principle was lightning doesn't usually strike twice. So I thought, hey, we had a bomb. Vova got a bit of blood. It was very close, so my day is going to be quite cool. So we finished the day right down in the south of Lysychansk, in probably the most horrible area there is down there. And I thought, well, sun's out, everything's good. All I got to do is go to Seversk and we're cool. So the window's down, GPS is on, sun's out, singing a bit with the radio. Go down this way. Then we're at a block post and there's no one there. And it's kind of on fire and smoking. I'm like, I think this has just been hit. And Google's like, your route is straight ahead. I'm like, really? I'm like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, okay. And then for maybe 2 kilometers to the right, 3 kilometers, there's artillery fire coming in and where it's been, and it's just smoking. I'm like, this is now a very serious situation. And so I'm moving ahead. I'm like, okay, not doing bad. And there's debris. There's some grads sticking out of the ground. And then I don't know whether it's a grad sticking out left or something, or I hit a mine. There's like, poof, below it. I'm like, oh dear. Just taking some damage to the bottom of the vehicle. I'm like, oh, we're still moving. It's good. And then the road just gets worse and worse and worse. There's like where it's been blown up. There's vehicles blown out. And I'm struggling to get past any of it. And as I pull up, rocket comes straight over the top, boom, boom, about 20 meters in front to the right, boom. Eye goes pop with shrapnel, and I'm like, There's like blood everywhere, and I'm like down to one eye. I'm like, that's not good. And then just to give it a little bit of dramatic effect, because we don't want it to be boring, it's like pop, 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 pop. And all the side of the van starts opening like bing, 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 bing. And so I'm like, we probably have about 3 minutes to live here. So I'm like, maybe we'll go off track. So went off track and probably trashed the tyres, trashed it, but somehow got past that. I'm like, woohoo, luckiest man on earth. Look back, one of my passengers is hit and bleeding. Maybe not the luckiest man on earth, but I'm like, we're here, we're moving. Bombed into it, slowed down, tried to make it, and then I'm grounded on a concrete block. Completely grounded, the vehicle won't move. I'm like, ooh, this is not good. So jumped out, trying to work out what to do, and I can't find a way to clear it. And then suddenly I hear a shout, you need to move or you will be dead. And then, whoosh, boom, on the ground. So I hit the ground. I'm like, yeah guys, I kind of know I'm gonna be dead soon. They're like, no, get out of there. I'm like, concrete block vehicle, how? You just need to do it. I went, it won't move. After a little bit more, they're like, finally they came down. No, they were heroes. So like 5 Ukrainian soldiers come out of their safety and they came down, they cleared the blocks, they pushed it. The vehicle was absolutely trashed. But somehow it had movement, and it had enough movement to get from there to Bakhmut. I didn't believe it would. So we limped into Bakhmut and got to the block post and transferred our passengers, and that's the story. It was totally horrible. I'm there lying on the ground pleading with the Ukrainian soldiers to kind of move my pensioner who's dying. Of course it was shit. I'm going back to work next week. This week. We're on Sunday now. What day are we on? If you have my machine ready, yes, today. Of course, I'm a long time here. My heart is here. You know, I love the country. And of course, I believe in the cause. But let's be real. It's not really just a Ukrainian war. The other people are fighting a little bit of a proxy war, but they need to pump more stuff in because it's Ukraine paying the price for freedom. But all the world needs that freedom. I would say it's as simple as this. If the decision is made to send weapons, why drip feed? Why start counting the cost per day of Ukrainian lives? The war needs to be won. Why not put the weapons in that will resolve it? It's absolute nonsense. It's criminal. And the countries that won't get involved properly and that are hiding behind their political and monetary interests, shame on them. Ukraine will win, but the message is simple. How much do they have to pay for that victory, and why should they have to keep paying for it? For God's sake, send the long-range artillery stuff now, not later. Героям слава!